We would like to acknowledge that we are on Treaty 1 territory, home and gathering place of the Anishinaabe, Cree, Ojibwe, Dakota, Dene, and homeland of the Métis Nation. It is important that we recognize land acknowledgements as we live, work, and occupy this land. We need to uphold these acknowledgements by following protocol, reflecting on the space we take up, being an ally, and understanding that we are still learning when we're in these spaces.
How is this important work? Detailed knowledge of land and people aids understanding. The more that people understand a community and the issues, both past and present, which confront that community, the better equipped they are to help and work as an ally. The information provided by the Homelands Project encompasses a broad range of topics, from current community contacts to the treaty which has regulated this land for over 100 years. Becoming familiar with these topics not only helps with the specific Katimavik project, but also works towards the broader goal of truth about Canada's relationship with Indigenous peoples.
How is this important work in moving forward in the dialogue of truth and reconciliation in Canada? This is important because it causes us to recognize that Indigenous people once had their own territory, language, and culture held together by a spiritual worldview and a sacred responsibility to Mother Earth and all of creation. This causes us to recognize that these values and traditions remain viable today, that they believe that with consciousness comes awareness, with awareness comes ownership of personal circumstances, and with collaboration comes change. This can cause us to have an effort to restore the communities, our communities, to the capacity to address our own needs. This can cause us to know that it is possible to redevelop our community according to our own values and vision, that these beliefs can cause us to take responsibility seriously to our children and future generations, and we can and will in our lifetime see the changes that we are fighting for.
How do you define reconciliation? I think that reconciliation involves allyship between Indigenous peoples and non-Indigenous peoples. It involves a lot of self-reflection, education, and listening.
I define reconciliation as restoring beneficial relationships between Indigenous peoples and the Canadian government. Canada needs to act upon what they have said that they would do to make the lives of Indigenous peoples better.
What is reconciliation? To me, reconciliation is the restoration of relationship. It's all about having compassion and having a good faith, honest relationship with the Indigenous peoples and understanding that they deserve to govern themselves. They deserve equal rights to this land. As everyone else, they deserve equal rights to healthcare and the ability to self-govern. Reconciliation is ultimately just the acknowledgement of Indigenous peoples.
What does it mean to live on Treaty 1 territory? I think it creates a responsibility to fulfill treaty obligations in letter and in spirit. This means being aware of treaty terms, the history and relationships around the treaty, and local perspectives on the document. It means exerting pressure and creating initiatives to fulfill and improve the treaty. And finally, it means working for the benefit of the land and the people.
I think a quote that helps me understand reconciliation is one I've heard from multiple community partners. It's that we aren't finished being human yet. These cultures, these languages, they aren't dead. In fact, they're continuing to evolve and they're continuing to grow as the people in these communities grow. And I think it's time that those around the bystanders take action. And I think it's also time that the government starts putting in resources for these people to right the wrongs that we've created.